new test on that onion. Did you use this form with Chef Tony and that? Okay, so this is gonna be the form that you guys are gonna use to test. So let's get our official writer with a calculator, and we're gonna think about this right now. Okay, so let's look at this. We're gonna do this in one of the smaller fish just to facilitate the process. But basically what's gonna be is, first thing you're gonna do, you're gonna weigh the fish, and then you're gonna start to break it down on the way down. Okay, so when we get to the smaller fish, you're gonna do. There's two things that I do when I do salmon. First, the reason I use a little paper towel so it doesn't slide on my hand, and I'll take what is this fins over here you guys presented early? No,
dorsal.
this down here. Okay, this is the dorsal fin, and you saw that the example that Dante was talking about, that some of those fins in some fish continues over here, and then some fish have another one that is basically to hold the fish for kind of do the dance, right? So basically that. So I'm gonna maneuver over here through everything. So here is again the straight cut is where basically we'll do like this, and then comes out right there. No problem. I can do a salmon as an up and over but that's pretty much kind of the way to go is this. So I go all the way to this here. Use this knife just because it's better, it's bigger. And then right here, I must make sure that my knife touches. So I just kind of go over here and I hold over here with one hand, and you see that I have one finger hold the head, one finger raising the belly, and then I basically okay, got a nice fillet. And then here you see that the bone here makes a indentation on the fish. It's not the best thing, so what I'll do is I bring the thing off the cutting board. Why is that? That way I can hold the spine flat, so it works a little bit better. There we go. Do the same thing. Then hold this, one hand go, and if you start to kind of slide on you, use paper towel to give a little bit leverage, and then you will. And you gotta make sure that your knife is feeling two things. One is feeling the spine, the other one is feeling the bones. Then you're going to take a nice fillet, and then you're going to go with the spoon. And the spoon over here, I will, again, this is, in my view, is usable trimming, because this would be my salmon tartare, or my salmon croquette, or my salmon something on the menu, and will be sold.
But for the sake of a yield test, it would be unusable trim?
I'll put, on the sake of the test, I'll put a usable trim, because I'm going to look at you in different ways. And I'm going to think of you as a possible crew that I could give a salmon and would find a way to utilize everything. So I'll think that, that will be usable trimming, as well as the little chunks of portion there. And then, so I want you guys to see is, if you think about the full weight of this fish, and then what the little amount that you're losing on the bone over here. And again, a lot of the restaurants, they might throw this away. In mine, definitely, this will be on the first course station or the amuse station. For example, this, even if I do a small little amuse, do a little salmon tartare on a little crostini and send a free as an amuse bush to every single table, it still opens up the door to one more glass of champagne, one more glass of wine, and it is the small things that produce great dividends. So, okay, so this is pretty nice so far. It's pretty nice so far. This is not a fish that is good for stock, because it's, you know, kind of very oily, so it doesn't deliver very good to stock. What's that?
The pigment itself will change the color.
Well, if I was going to make it today a salmon bisque, for example, I could make a stock and use right away, but to use as a fish stock for several dishes on the restaurant menu, for example, I wouldn't use that, okay? So here, basically you have the beginning of the salmon. So right here, gonna be about cleaning the fish in a decent way. So you know that these dishes cascade well, and you know that you're going to utilize the skin on a portion. So here, for example, what you try to do is clean this belly. If I'm running over here and I have a charcuterie program, so I might have a, you know, tartare as an amuse, and then I might clean a little bit over here, but I might keep the belly cut over here, so I can get pavés on the salmon, cut over here, and then this belly, I can confit the belly, for example, I can smoke the belly and then sell as a salmon belly. There, I could even take this piece over here and cure with my own cure and make salmon bacon. That's where I'll make my salmon bacon from. It's from this really, really belly, and I've done this many times on a charcuterie board. But here, what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna go right under the ribs, and I'm gonna try to take this without lose as many as possible. So here gonna be all about the tip of your knife, so you can utilize this by okay. All right, there we go. Go. Then you get as far as you can. Right here is pretty much kind of fat here, and that's what makes a really good salmon bacon, you know. Actually will do. Okay, so here, pretty good. Here, you know, that's what you're gonna have to do. So this thing here, you're gonna have to kind of maneuver. And one little trick that I normally use is this. And the other important thing is make sure that you feel the sometimes the bone break, And you gotta make sure that that's what you're gonna do. With your finger, you're gonna find the bone without bruising the meat completely. And you gotta pull the bone following the direction of the bone itself. If you don't find it right away, skip it. I don't want you to just kind of go and look for the bone all the way through. The other thing is, sometimes the bone is so tender that this thing cuts. So it depends on the plier that you have. Take a look and see, because a lot of this bone over here, you can retrieve it once you start to cut pave, okay? See how this is giving me a hard time? See? Well, this is definitely not happening here. We'll have another plier.
Is it your turn?
They're down there. That's the same one we just had.
Hood's a little bigger.
Yeah, that's.
Yeah, sometimes the blade of this thing is so sharp, it breaks the bone inside, you know. So just kind of go back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, and then you'll be able to see it. Yeah, see, this is cutting through.
It's the same guy. They're slightly different.
And this is not connecting. There we go. This is not good. Okay. So we'll come back to this, and I'll make sure that we get it. Okay. So again, here's basically what we're going to accomplish with this animal here.
I have this kind too. It's kind of loose.
That's it. Yeah, I rather not bruise than bruise the animal, you know. There we go. Maybe this might be the answer. Well, there we go. So we got something that is. There we go. There we go. Nice. Impressed. This came with a knife box?
No.
I have them in the school store
Actually,
though.
just bought it as in it. They are full fish tweezers.
Uh-huh.
In the store they're only like $5.
Yeah.
Yep. It's actually working pretty good. Not quite perfect, but it's better than the other 5 choices we had. So it's cutting the head of the bone, you know?
Sold out Ace Hardware for needle-nose pliers.
Yeah, I want to say it's hard.
We'll throw Ace Hardware under the bus. Okay, I'll come back to that. So this over here are gonna cure, and we're gonna smoke today. We're actually gonna cure that very quickly. So again, go back under the bone.
Were you gonna cure it with the skin on?
Because once we smoke, this skin is gonna become almost like casing of sausage. You'll be able to retrieve the whole thing and then have a really nice belly.
So apart from the reason that the salmon travels from the seawater to freshwater, is there any other reason that gives it the pink color?
No, just the feed. You know, feed. As a matter of fact, that is, you know, like when you see farm salmon, it's actually not as bright orange. You know, some salmon, I see some salmon really, really red, man, like this color, really, really red. You know? Okay.
What's the difference between like salmon belly versus like, you know, like tuna belly or like toro or so?
The toro is as a tuna belly, but it's not necessarily the best tuna belly. You know, it's like toro tend to be a little bit orange. It's come from an animal, or it's too high fat for sushi purpose, or too low in fat. But basically that, it's just kind of sold as toro. This over here, salmon belly will never be called toro.
Yes.
You know, so to be considered toro, gotta be from the tuna family.
But would it be like kind of the same taste and texture?
No, the taste would be very different. Texture, it could be close, but you know, the texture of tuna, and once I cut the tuna over here, you guys gonna be able to taste it. If everybody eats fresh fish, raw fish, I'll cut a little piece of the tuna. I think we have soy sauce inside the fridge that you guys can taste it and you can see it, okay? So let's give me the next salmon family over here, which would be that steelhead.
Are you gonna leave us this portion?
Yeah, I'm gonna portion after I debone them. Okay, so here, basically, the approach over here, if I'll do this, I'll do exactly the same thing. I'll get over here. And this is a steelhead. And the steelhead is from what, guys? Is a what? It's a salmon relative, but is what? Actual a trout, right? And again, I'll do the same way that I did the last one. I'll cut this dorsal end, and then I'll do the same exact thing over here. I'll start it out over here, and the color of this thing gonna be gorgeous. Okay.
Chef, you wouldn't want to use this for a fish stock either, would you?
What's that? No.
So this is kind of different from the fish we did yesterday in that like you're cutting through the bone.
Yeah, this over here, I'm basically cutting through the little ribs. See? Basically what I kind of go in. And then the same thing I'll do on the salmon, doing here. Just kind of take it off the board, so that way it gives me a fresh. Yesterday you did a up and over cut on the sardines, for example. That was a great example of an up and over cut because you're cutting through the gut sack over here. Cod, sometimes you can do an up and over. Sometimes I do cod straight out too. Depends on how round the fish is. The one that we have today, that there is no head, I might have to kind of do the dance a little bit.
Chef, we didn't do a straight on cut with the sardines yesterday?
Sardines, no, went in, and then we did an over the gut. Okay. So we end up leaving the gut intact. At least at the ones that came out nicely.
If you did it right.
If you did it.
That's what you're supposed to do.
Okay, who's in charge of demo today?
Someone take charge.
Okay, somebody is in charge of demo. So we have chopped shallots, chopped capers, chopped parsley, chopped chives,
Since this is
a little bit lemon zest.
Chef, since this is a species of the salmon, it doesn't matter if you mix them?
Yeah, this is a steelhead's a trout, but you see the color is very similar, so I just go and gonna be so little out of here, so I'm gonna add to that, and so we can make a little tartare with that, so we can taste later on. So I'm already kind of butchering and working on our tasting already. So we're gonna have a nice little salmon tartare for later.
So the salmon tartare has shallots, capers, garlic, and chives and lemon.
Yeah, not much garlic, mostly shallot, chive, lemon
That
zest.
really just went right for my temple. Awesome.
Okay, so here I'm gonna clean up this a little bit. That's a gorgeous looking fish. It's beautiful, my goodness. This is a treat. Okay, Christina, when you finish that, separate them into a different pan, okay? So again, keep go as close as the rib as you can, so you don't lose a lot. And should be in good shape here. And then you're gonna debone this the same way.
Chef, would you do a trout bacon as well?
I could, yeah. How beautiful.
So what we're learning is everything can be baked.
So you want to keep
Anything and everything's
Oh,
gonna be
you,
big.
once you put, you just put in a sheet pan side by side, because they're gonna portion everything later too.
What I'm learning is everything
Really learning a lot here, Dee.
What we learn is that curry is delicious for everything.
and everything can be baked.
I learned that curing in Italy. You wasn't even born yet. So.
Sorry.
You're fine.
Inside. Okay, now give me the next one, which is the char. I have only one, it's left over from this other guy today. This is a gorgeous looking fish. It's just beautiful.
Here.
Beautiful.
It's like a small salmon.
Second half. So this is the steelhead?
No, Arctic
No,
char.
this is a char.
This
That's
one's a steelhead.
Okay.
It's okay. I get it. That is not where you want your chins.
Want a separate bowl for that one? Or?
Next. Obrigado. Oh, okay. So let me finish this off here. So char, the same again. You see the similarities over here. That's pretty much kind of a lot the same kind of cut, the same kind of procedure. And this char over here, we're going to bone out. You get any degree of success on that, Christina, or no?
Yeah, the salmon's done.
Ah, beautiful.
Yeah. Yeah, makes sense.
Lamb bacon?
What?
Lamb bacon?
What?
Lamb bacon?
Has the lamb
Yeah.
gone in?
No. It's okay. I was just sealing it all up. We left it open.
Guys, if you guys close to the spicy over there, let's put a little bit of that curry mix. Because once we put in the lamb bacon, we're gonna put in some salmon belly as well. Okay, so we got the 3 salmon family here. The same proposal, the same approach, basically the same kind of cut, right? So, you know, it should be pretty simple. Now next, I trust that they descale our best, but trusting that's what best for us.